the job site over there, Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let me answer it a different way. Did anybody really care?
No.
No.
What is Keith like when he loses his temper? I don't think I've ever seen you really, truly lose your temper. You're more even-keeled.
Yeah, did we call it losing temper? I was so much
Getting
younger.
pissed? What do you call it?
I was so much younger, though.
What the F is wrong with you guys? Followed by like storming towards his car or the truck was typically the.
Throwing my hands up, knowing I lost. There's no way I was going to win this fight.
How old were you then, Keith?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I started.
Was that 30s?
Well, I've started. Let me see. We had our first child at 23. Came here. I was maybe 25 when we opened up started the business. And probably by the time I had to deal with this knucklehead and my brothers, I don't know, 30 maybe. Maybe
you would have been like 37.
Early 30s. Yeah, mid 30s.
I would have been like 22.
Yeah, but didn't you when you were in high school you helped, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, yes, but the real
Actually.
damage was done right out of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Kevin Yancey, better question. Did Scott cause Keith to lose his mind on the job site?
Well, Kevin.
It was a collaborative effort between his brothers, Tom Donahue, and myself.
Well, look, in order to lose a mind, you have to have one.
Oh, stop. I knew you were going to say.
So we were, yeah.
Scott's, a better question from Scott to Kevin Yancey. And we love you, Kevin Yancey. Did the bottle of bourbon come? It has not come. It's in UPS's hands. It's in United States Post Office.
USPS.
USPS's hands. We hope it comes, Kevin Yancey. We hope it comes. Nick Hill giving Scotty Moe some props on the feed. Nick Hill, welcome to the program. Jump in with perspective, thoughts, comments, feedback. A behind-the-scenes show of the I Live Seaville Network would be absolutely hilarious, would it not, Keith?
It would. But
a blooper reel, if you may.
The executive producer sometimes asks for quite a bit from the show, so be careful what you ask for.
I think that's fair.
That's a fair statement.
I think that's a fair statement.
Evidence of that was what we talked about after the show on Monday.
But we like you, Keith. It's easy to go above and beyond when the client you're working alongside is someone you enjoy.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? You've been we're all in client services here.
I'm in my penny loafers, man.
Wait, he's got the tassels on the shoes? Does he have that?
No, these are tassel free.
Because last week Scott was throwing a little shade about the tassels on the loafers.
Do I have to pull the card out of national news?
Oh, we do.
Newsmaker? Do I have to pull that card out? A little respect, please.
Keith Smith has won a
little
national
respect.
award.
Some people actually think know what I'm talking about.
I think you do. Let's rock and roll, Judah. We'll have some fun today. Who likes the Forrest?
No, Forrest.
Forrest knows what's up.
No, Forrest does not know what's up. Forrest the dog is attached, bonded with my wife.
Yeah. Well, she rescued him.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
She rescued him. All right, J-Dubs, we're in your hands, my friend.
Are we supposed to talk real estate or something?
Yes.
I think we're good there.
Yeah, okay.
Good Wednesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. A glorious Wednesday in downtown Charlottesville, a show presented by Ross Mortgage, and just an A-plus guy, Scotty Moe, Scott Morris of Ross Mortgage. Today's show is dynamic and interactive. You, the viewer and listener, can ask questions with real estate professionals that love to entertain, enlighten, and educate. We would be remiss not to give Judah Wickower, our director, some props. Not only does he keep the audio and visual running smoothly and efficiently, well, sometimes he has to scramble and make sure the microphones stay on the microphone arms.
After Captain Destructo gets held away.
I don't know what happened there.
Captain Destructo.
You've got video proof that it just
We-
fell down. I had nothing to do with
Let's
it.
go to the 3-shot and let's welcome the national award winner, Keith Smith
Where?
himself.
Keith.
Let's
Yeah.
go to the 3-shot and let's welcome Scott Morris, who is one of the top performers in his company, a
right.
national company,
Yeah, right.
Ross Mortgage. Yes, and dude's looking sharp, dude. Is he not looking fresh? Let's give Scotty Mo some love over here.
You can hide a lot with the pullover, man.
It's nice. The North Face is nice. A quarter zip. A huge fan of the quarter zip. I like the quarter zip because I can put it up. Well, I think you'll respect this. You can put it on without messing up your hair.
Yeah.
Is that what you
I
appreciate?
got a whole process. So that
No,
actually
I'm
goes
gonna sip
on
my
before
coffee.
there's anything done with.
Let me
it.
know when you get the real estate, okay?
Got it.
I want to ask you about that. All clothes go on before hair is done?
Yeah.
Okay. See, one of the reasons I like the quarter zip, if I happen to
Judah, how
do
you
the
doing
hair
over there today?
before the clothes are on, I can get it on no problem.
Yes.
I can get it on no problem. Kevin Yancey,
Are we done yet?
I'll be delivering a replacement to the studio today. I got a bourbon-soaked package back from United States Post Office yesterday.
Bourbon soaked.
dang.
Oh,
He
that
had a
means it
bourbon-soaked
broke.
package. He says he's
Oh.
going to be dropping off bourbon to the studio today.
All right.
That means it broke in transit.
That means about half of it will be ready for Scott when he comes next week.
That's right.
I'm just joking. We won't crack the bottle. Scott will
Oh,
get
no.
it unopened, I promise.
I got Jesse Rutherford coming on Friday night.
Oh, okay.
If it shows up today.
Jesse's going
I
to.
see stuff over there.
You're
There is stuff
out
over
of-
there. We wouldn't crack your bottle.
So
We wouldn't do that.
everybody's got a yellow card. We've been drinking a lot of coffee this morning.
Yes.
Everybody's got a yellow card. If somebody needs to use the head or the bathroom, yellow card, please.
Not only
Throw it
do
up.
we use the yellow card to go to the bathroom, the keys to the bathroom have the big spoon on it as well.
No,
so
it
you know,
does
I'm
not.
just joking.
It
Remember
does
from
not.
elementary school, the big spoon
Yeah,
on the
or
keys?
the eraser.
The
whatever it is.
eraser, yeah. All right, why don't we do this? We're going to have some fun, but we got to get to work as well. Scotty Mo, the show is yours. Let's start with the first sizzle reel. My friend, anywhere you want to go today?
I think if you are out there looking to buy, pay attention to your trusted advisors. I think we're going to be in kind of a tumultuous place as far as rates go. For the next few weeks, we're going to see some data that's going to come in that the markets are going to like and they're not going to like. Part of it's going to have to do with the jobs report, which today we had UDP reporting significantly below expected, and the bond market's starting to react, but so is the equities market. And what that means is, so bonds are moving in what is typically a positive direction for rates, but more
Which is
respects-
down.
Which is down. Well, which is actually up, but yield down. And we're seeing the equities market not perform so well. And part of that's going to be due to the message expected to be delivered by Jerome Powell and the Fed, which really needs to be the beatings will continue until morale improves. Because if he goes out and says anything other than if they start talking about tapering, or we're not going to continue to increase the prime rate, we're not going to see good news when it comes to inflation.
Well said. We'll get that content out today, J-Dubs, as it's very timely. Keith Smith, show's yours.
Note to self: don't interrupt the guy that's doing the sizzle reel.
mean,
I wrote
it's
that down.
It's endearing.
I wrote
it's
that-
endearing.
oh.
And it's a good thing Scott loves you over there. It's
Is it-
endearing.
I did. Was I interrupted?
No. That was even
Is this a
funnier.
repeat of when you were working for me? Totally didn't pay attention to me.
I think that was a DL zing to Keith. Am I listening to what you're saying over here, Keith Smith? I think that's what it was over there. Can you tell the three of us, the four of us, enjoy each other's company? The band is back together. The band is back together, Keith.
Yeah. I was thinking of the movie Three Amigos. Everybody saw that back in '87. That's more in tune on it. The question is who's who in the role. I'm definitely
Steve Martin. You're Steve Martin.
I'm Steve Martin. For sure.
Why don't I go Martin Short? I'll just go Martin
Okay,
Short.
I was going to go Martin Short.
No.
I
I'll
don't
go
know.
Martin
I
Short.
think he's more of a Martin Short. Well, you guys should stand back to
I
back
think
and
it's
see.
a toss-up. When he's wearing his Nikes, I think he's a little bit taller than I am.
So the high heel Nikes.
I think that's why he wears the Nikes.
Exactly,
Okay?
exactly.
Who was the third one in the Three Amigos?
Oh, it's Martin Short,
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. It'll come to me. Hold on one second.
I can
was
do a
just
quick
looking
little
at it
Google
the other
search.
day. Oh, come on.
See if you can get it before I do the Google search and come out with it.
I can see the face. I can't remember it. Oh,
You want me to tell you? You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably, maybe the most talented, Chevy Chase.
Oh, Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
Chevy
See,
Chase.
now he wants to be Chevy
Of course
Chase.
He wants to be Chevy Chase. Of the three, I'd say Chevy was the coolest, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
So
He's
there you go.
He was
Chevy
the biggest
Chase.
pimp of the three, right?
Yes.
Did you just say pimp?
Yeah, pimp means cool guy.
Oh.
Does that mean cool guy in that
It
context?
doesn't mean that in the neighborhood I grew up in, but that's
I mean, I just mean he was very debonair and suave and a ladies' man. I mean, Chevy Chase in Caddyshack, does it get any cooler than that?
Oh yeah, or the
Are we going down that road?
whatchamacallit, the National Lampoons, like the entire series.
I love National Lampoons. Christmas Vacation, I'd probably OD on, 15, 20 times in the month of December alone.
So the sizzle reel that I was not supposed to interrupt you on, that I said something, so I apologize for that. So you're still thinking the same track. You're thinking the end of the year we're going to be in this mid fours, upper fours.
Upper fours to low fives.
Upper fours, low fives.
Yeah,
Did I made up the mid fours somewhere?
Yeah.
I did make that up.
I have somebody. Every time that gets brought up, it gets lower and lower. I'm like, I didn't say that.
When you said this a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week when Pri was on the show, Pri literally jumped out of her seat. She's like, let's go. Fours for the interest rate. Do you see her do that?
Yeah. And I got nervous actually.
And she's closing deals.
She is,
Did you
very
see her
much.
post?
Yeah.
She's making moves.
7 listings under contract.
All under contract at the same time?
Well, within like a course of a week, I think.
Yeah. That's big time. Very big time.
I've got a stack of documents in front of me. I'm giving Ned Galloway and I given a regional housing partnership presentation to Albemarle County Board of Supervisors today, and the consensus of all these data that I crunched yesterday, just the inventory is not getting better. Right? There's just nothing to buy in our region, at least in Albemarle County, that is hitting that quote unquote affordability index. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with the Board of Supervisors. But I'm excited. I'm excited about. You do me a small favor. Can you tag Michael Guthrie?
Yes,
for
Michael
me?
Guthrie. Would you like me to get Supervisor Galloway in the mix?
No. But I just got a text from Michael thanking me personally. So if you could thank him
You're getting some props right now from Keith Smith.
online, please. Thank you. Thank him.
Well, why don't we do this? We can get a sizzle for Keith in the mix.
No.
Keith Smith, co-owner, Yes Realty Partners. Yes, he is a realtor. Yes, he is a realtor. Tell us about this national award you just won, my friend.
It's funny you should say that. People ask me all the time. So what do you do for a living? I am a real estate agent. Go figure.
Your mom says that to you as well.
My mom says that for very different reasons.
We love you, Tina.
Yeah, I'm super flattered. It's the second year in a row. This year, I won in the Crusader category. So it was primarily wrapped around the land trust work that we have done. But it's really interesting. So I don't know who nominated me for this. I called around a bunch of people because the article and the quote, they must have took from the show, because I was not interviewed from Risk Media for it. But there's a quote at the end of the little write-up that they did, really kind of talks about our why we do this. And it's really simple. Our trips around the sun requires 3 basic things in life, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. We get to wake up every morning and help them with one of them. And it is our why. It's our why that we wake up every morning and do this. It's also, I know the why Scott, who's sitting to my right, gets up every morning to do what we do, is to help people, move, to be part of that shelter component of the 3 components of life. And I'm just flat out flattered. And I'm somewhat speechless, which those who know me well know that's pretty hard to come by. But I have no idea who nominated me. I had no idea who sent in the write-up. But whoever did, thank you very much. And it's a flat out honor to be nominated amongst some pretty cool people. Again, a shout out to Michael Guthrie, because there's a bunch of Howard Hanna people that's part of this newsmaker setup.
I love it. Congratulations, Michael Guthrie. I believe you are watching, sir. We have a lot of respect for you here on the I Love Seville Network. When you see Keith Smith around town, congratulate him on back-to-back national recognition, national accolades.
Gin. I drink gin. Just in case
The man certainly deserves it. We'll go back to Scotty Moe here. Jerome Powell later today.
Yo.
Data, I can say it's a roller coaster ride so far with the data we're seeing. A lot of folks now expecting maybe a hawkish Jay Powell later today. Time will tell. Stephanie Wells Rhodes says, congratulations, Keith
Thank you,
Smith.
Stephanie.
How do you see markets responding, Scott Morris?
So I think we're going to see some pouring into the bond market. A lot of it's going to depend on what actual jobs numbers look like on Friday. The ADP number is something that people give a look but don't give credit to because they adjusted the way that they report. And ADP also believes that part of the difference in the expected number versus the actual produced number has to do with the snowstorms in the Northeast and people not being able to work, less than actual economic effect, but they're no longer reporting in an economist viewpoint. They really are more from a data standpoint. So take it for what it's worth. We're going to find out on Friday what that really means. As far as hawkish and the Fed goes, the beatings will continue until inflation improves. That's where we need to. That's the message they're going to deliver.
But is inflation improving in your opinion?
It's improving, but the
speed of improvement.
The speed of improvement, and then does it stall? Do we
They
not
want it down to like 2%, right?
Do they not get to 2%? Do they say get to 4% and then don't know how to fix it? There's a lot of, one, it got so high so fast because we printed a third of the money that's ever been in circulation in the history of our country in 12 months. And now we're, facing those repercussions. But, we'll find out. That I don't know the answer to. I do know that we will see a continued decline, which will be a boon for mortgage rates as we progress through the year. How far we get with it is, to be decided.
There you go. That's the end of the second one. People giving you props. Carol Thorpe.
Thank you, Carol.
Says,
Thank you.
congratulations,
Thank you.
Keith Smith. Stephanie Wells Rhodes, congratulations, Keith Smith.
Thank you.
Kevin Yancey. Grayson, congratulations, Keith Smith.
Thank you.
Spencer,
Thank you.
congratulations, Keith Smith. Lou
flattered.
Stevens, congratulations, Keith Smith. Give the man some props. A national award winner announced today, ladies and gentlemen.
So, thank you, everybody. I'm flattered. Just the fact that I get to sit here and do this 3 times a week and really help people achieve their real estate goals. And there's this important thing called shelter in our lives. I'm just happy that I have the ability to do it. For those who do not speak acronyms, can we explain what ADP means?
They're a payroll. They're like paychecks. They're like a payroll report. They're a company that
Got it.
that does payroll for massive corporations across the United States, and they report jobless data based upon those reports, those companies, those clients.
Automatic data processing. He's exactly right. ADP right there. You can say the market leader. And when they release data numbers, people listen, and they listen closely.
It's kind of like E.F. Hutton. Now I just really dated myself. So hey, if Michael Guthrie's still watching, in his opinion, if interest rates go to, what did we settle on? Say 5%? Go to 5%. Is that good for the market or bad for the market? I'd love his read on it. He's been around the block enough to know to chime in on that. So what if we go to 5%? Does that help inventory? Hurt inventory? Do we end up exactly back where we were 12, 24 months ago on that end of it? I have my opinion. I'd love to read. And any other real estate agent or real estate professional that's on the feed right now, or anybody, does that scare you or make you excited?
We'll see if we get a response from Merg. It's the name that his grandkids call him, Michael Guthrie, all-around great guy, golfer, community steward, ringer of the bell at the Salvation Army.
And
cool dude.
Multiple other things.
Yeah, all around
Things.
A+ guy. So Keith Smith, where do you want to go here? We still have a major inventory problem, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think that everyone cheering for low rates has to be aware that depending on how quickly we get there, that's going to continue to make the inventory problem worse. Now, certainly in the long term, it will make it better, but there will be some growing pains.
I'm looking, as I keep a track on, and most folks in my space do. I'm looking at the car footprint. 7 days back, 49 homes came on the market, 89 went pending. That ratio is just not changing. As long as we've got a substantially more homes going pending as coming into active, this difficulty isn't going to get better. And I'm about ready to talk to Albemarle County today, because they're going to release their developer incentive programs, which took 2 years to get done, by the way.
Neil Williamson has said multiple times that developer incentive program is not impactful enough to move the needle. You agree or disagree?
I don't disagree. I haven't read it in great depth on it. I'm going to actually sit through the presentation today. I'll probably sit next to Neil, and he'll
look at his paper.
Look at his paper.
Look at his test.
There's a lot of truth in that. Okay,
what are you doing over there?
He's going to say that.
Okay, the answer is C.
C. No, that's a D. D. Damn, Neil, write better.
Johnny Ornalis giving you some props.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Johnny.
Keith Smith.
Thank you, Johnny.
El Maestro de Real Estate, Keith Smith. That means you're just
the maestro of real estate.
There you go.
Did I translate that correctly?
You did. Very well
There
done,
you
Keith
go.
Smith. Very well done.
The maestro of real estate. That's it. Hold on a second. I need my
Your magic wand.
my maestro wands to
You
go
need
ahead
your
and do
magic
that.
wand. Julie Huff Garrett, welcome to the program.
Julie, hello, Miss. How are you?
She's giving everybody some props. I see 1, 2, I count 8 agents right now on the feed. Let
There
us
you go.
know, agents with questions. Jump in, 9, excuse me, and we will relay your questions or answers or perspective live on air. This one go ahead, Keith.
Well, I'm just saying, those 9 agents, and even Johnny's really dialed into the business and real estate. If we'll lower interest rates, help the inventory, or hurt it. I would really love to hear what these 9 agents, or anybody who's watching, to go ahead and do that. 'Cause
What do you think about that, Neil Williamson?
Everybody-
What do you think about that, James Watson?
everybody our opinion, or my opinion, or everybody's opinion on set is pretty solid. I think we've been consistent about it. I'd love to hear what others have to say, and maybe prove us wrong a little bit.
I mean, you would think, you guys are the experts, you lower the interest rates, you get a lot more buyers jumping into the buy-in market. When inventory is pinched already, that could lead back to a multiple offer situation, a little craziness and chaos, and prices increasing as a result. That's the layman's perspective. You guys are the experts.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of data in front of me, and it's just not looking better. As far as inventory, is not looking good, and at some point, trying to take the positive end of it, maybe for the sake of a talk show. Do you think, Scott, if we do get to this 5, or it kind of it flirts a little bit below 5, is it going to change folks who've been sitting on the sidelines to put their houses on the market? Do you see that possibly happening?
Yeah, well, that's what I talk when I'm talking about a timeline. I think we go through an initial phase where we put more buyers on the board, multiple offers, things are painful. If rates continue to tick low, you get more people who are willing to step away from the rates that they have and use the massive amounts of equity that they have accrued and are accruing in that process in order to move up into something else, because that's the next step. How long have the people been in these homes? We're only talking 2 or 3 years for a lot of this massive volume of purchases. You go buy a new car. It's only a new car for a little amount of time before people have a driven want for something else. If they're in a townhome, they want to move up to something else, and then you've got the other cycle of life of people divorcing and need to unload a property, or all of these things, downsizing, all of these things, all of these things happen, and they're going to continue to create energy, but people want to make those decisions without a sense of fear. So if the market improves, the initial improvement will put more people on the board, take up the inventory that we have available until there's enough consistency that it removes some of that fear from moving forward.
One thing we can say with confidence and conviction, if the rates drop as we're predicting they're going to drop, that's going to be good news for people choosing to list homes. The Carol Thorpes of the world, if the rates drop, more people jump in the mix, more interest in her property in Mill Creek.
Yes, in theory. But let me ask you a question, Scott. Has the Band-Aid been ripped off at the current rates? Are people coming into you talking about getting a loan, freaking out about rates, or are they more freaking out about or more concerned about what am I going to buy? What's the conversation?
What am I going to buy is the conversation.
Yeah, but a couple of months ago it was the opposite, right?
Yeah, 100%. And some of the people who came in a couple months ago, so we've pulled back a little bit from those highs, are now coming in and saying, I don't like where I am. What do I need? What can we do to find something? What can I qualify? What are there strategies that you have? Can you tell me what this 2-1 buy down is all about? Like, what do we need to do in order to take the next step? And what's the most effective way to do so?
Colby Ramasco giving Scotty Moe some props.
Colby, what's up, my man?
The fabulous Tova Payne watching the program as we speak. What up, Tova? Got to get her back on for a second rodeo.
I know.
Don't be shy, Tova. You did a great job last time.
I'm sure
Tova.
she's super excited about this being talked about right now.
Yeah.
Super excited about it?
Yeah.
I think that was tongue-in-cheek over there. Right now, she's somewhere back
I
at
speak
Ross
sarcasm.
Mortgage headquarters. She's like, you guys.
I speak
Yeah.
sarcasm.
I know we do.
Good
I know
got
you
it.
do.
Fluently.
I very, very fluently. I've hung around enough of those folks there on that. So, look, I'm just looking at this 86 that went pending. And by the way, just to put a little caveat on it, I actually added in this week the Augusta because I want to start into that actives and pendings. I want to start kind of tracking what's going on the other side. So some of these numbers we're talking about are a little bit different than a year ago because a year ago I did not have Augusta in there, but I'm starting to throw Augusta in it and Waynesboro. But look, so this is now the car footprint to include the other side of the hill. We've got 89 in the last 7 days that went pending. The median days on market, that's something I prefer to watch. Some folks look at a different set of numbers, but I like DOMs. The median is 19. The average is 44, right? And I'm looking at the DOMs in here, and there's like 20 with triple digits days on markets. Quite a bit of, we start hitting about we hit the 50th transaction of the 80 that are going into the 30 days and up kind of on market. I think when we have these conversations 1 or 2 weeks from, I've said this last week, we're going to start seeing all these triple digit days on markets fading away because they're just getting put under contract, and we're going to start seeing the average days on market and the median start getting a lot closer.
What do you think, Scott?
I agree with that. I also think that part of the what's keeping these triple digit or days on market is just people who had bad expectations and weren't either open to guidance from a trusted professional
or they came out of the gate wrong.
Yeah, or they got bad advice, and so buyers typically can learn in the course of a few weeks what the market is like, and take some lumps, take some lessons, and realize, okay, this is what I need to do in order to succeed. Whereas a seller who isn't motivated but thinks they're going to get it all might have 180 days of something sitting on the market with no offers to go, I wonder why I'm not selling this house. So
that's a good take right there. It's much easier to learn on the fly if you're a buyer than if you're a seller.
Yeah.
If you're a seller and you're learning on the fly here, it's your actual house that you're living in. And the longer it goes that it's on the market, potentially more stress, more traffic, more conversation at the dinner table with the significant other or the trusted advisor.
It depends on why you're selling too, what your motivation is. So if it's a spat between three siblings who are selling mom and dad's house, those are and one of them thinks that they can get all the money from 2 years ago, that you're not. But if rates continue to drop, potentially maybe that exists. So it's really a matter of one, finding the right person to list your house, trusting their advice, and taking effective action to make it sold.
Scotty Bo's on point today. What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, motivation. We haven't talked about that in a long time. But, look, motivation on the buyer and the seller is almost as important as the deal itself, right? You have to have a motivated seller and a motivated buyer. If you have both of them, meaning they wish to actually get to the closing table, you'll make a deal happen, right?
Yeah,
smile, right?
No, motive and intent. What do you know? I want to sell my house.
Well, I'm dealing with one right now where I've got, and I got to leave specifics out of it, that there's a divorce amongst twins.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wait, how does that work?
It's not an actual divorce. I'm using the word as a divorce, but there's twins that inherited a house.
Oh, and they got beef.
And one is suing the other.
Okay.
And it's
Got it.
judge appointed.
The twins are married?
Well, it's
That's worrisome. We got a bigger problem there. This guy was going to say something. He thought twice about saying it. I could tell.
I think I might know who this is. That's why I'm.
Let me get a redo on this. I'm helping out a couple of attorneys solve a problem where there's twins that one is suing the other.
Oh, okay.
And get it done. So there's a lack of motivation just on the listing side to.
As soon as you said that, along with anyway,
Scott knows who it is.
I think I know who this is.
You know exactly who this is. But in any event, look, this is why, and why I've been saying this for years. Real estate it takes 66 things. I've been talking about it forever, right? It's these 6 things. You've got to be in the right location. You've got to have a price. Price matters. Right, it matters more now than ever because if it's been on the market for a while, it gets, to Jerry's point, a scarlet letter. People start not looking at it. It has to have the right features. It's got to be in the right condition. To your point, Scott, timing, right, is everything. And, to be frank, who's on the other side matters. Who's part of the transaction matters to get you to the end. And it's those 6 things. And as those things start either going up and down and changing is how deals happen. And it's, again, it doesn't take a national award to figure that out. It's pretty self-explanatory.
But you have one on your resume, Kevin
I have
Yancey.
2,
on
actually.
your
2
resume.
He's
on
2
my
on
resume.
back to back. I stand corrected.
Back to back.
Gentlemen,
Love to know who submitted it.
Do
though.
you foresee Airbnb investors possibly influencing inventory with flips or getting out of the temporary housing with all the competition in the space?
It's something that I honestly do not understand. Like, I can't wrap my brain around who is paying $750 a night for some of what they get. Like, it's awesome that they get it. That's amazing. I congratulate everyone who does it. Do I think that it's got a runway and maybe they're at the end of it? Dude, I don't know. I tried to, I was going to go to Snowshoe this past weekend. And
With the fam or solo?
with the fam. So Thursday to Sunday.
Snowshoe's great.
With the fam. Now, all of the bookings, like, top of the mountain, little town area were already taken, so I started looking at Airbnbs and all of my options, and it was going to be $5,000 for 4 nights.
Jeez.
And I was like,
You're like, I don't love you that much.
I just conceivably couldn't. I mean, I don't get it. Like, who? I mean, so they're getting it. Somebody's going out there and doing that, and I just like. I can't wrap my brain around. Like, I don't even like getting cold.
So
that's for me, that was like, boom.
Well, that
like
kind of
we're gonna
brings
be
me
doing
back to
something
this
else.
inflation conversation we had earlier, right? We're very blessed. We get to do a lot of traveling to his, to my, chagrin. Thank you, to his chagrin. But we're very blessed. We get to a little traveling.
You travel more than any people I know. Just cut to the chase.
Yeah, well, we're blessed. We also work when we travel, so. We're blessed that we can do what we do from laptops and the tail is going nuts.
If you can hear it, I'm not sure if the viewers and listeners can. That's Liza's tail, much like a metronome on crack over there. Liza's tail is letting us know she's alive.
I don't know if I'm getting compliment or the shut up on that.
To my point on the cost, I talked to somebody this morning. He's like, yes, I saw the same thing. I'm flying to Montreal, lodging, plane tickets, and lift tickets, the whole shebang, $2,800.
That's fantastic.
And
Versus $5,000 to go stay in West Virginia for 4 nights.
What do you attribute that to?
I just
maybe.
I mean, snowshoes nice, but it's not skiing in Montreal.
right.
Well, I've been to Montreal. I'm telling you, it's not the same thing.
Wait, you're saying Montreal's better than?
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
They've got more slopes. Yeah, the whole. Yeah, it's
Not
just
even in the
much-
same
much
category.
nicer.
So I mean, to snowshoes credit.
Plus, you got a
one-
little French thrown in there.
To
Which always
snowshoes
makes
credit,
it
it's one of the best resorts on the East Coast.
Without doubt.
I think that's fair to say. But does it compare to the Rockies? Does it compare to Montreal? No, it does not.
So the question is, would you pack up the kids in a plane and all that stuff for half the price and go to Montreal?
I'm not getting on a plane with my. No, I'm not taking those people anywhere that I can't like put them in a car for. No.
He's got little kids.
I know.
Is it 3 under 6 or 3 under 5?
3 under 5.
3 under 5. He's gosh, man. I feel like we have it hard enough with 2 under 5. He's got 3 under 5.
Yeah. So all you got to do is wind them up, put them in the travelway there on the plane, and then let people worry about them. It's a good luck and let them run up and down.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It happens all the time. Yeah. So, but the point I was trying to get to is, we've got this inflation. We're supposedly in a recession, or wherever we are, but Yona's flying out to go visit grandbaby number 3, Ravenna, the first week of February to help out, to be super grandmother, super Gigi mom, and help out. And their place that they have is super tiny, and there's no place to stay. I can't find an Airbnb around their apartment where they live in there. I mean, I can't find one.
So where are they staying? Where's she staying?
We're either fluctuating dates based around Airbnb and flights, and it's becoming a thing, right? And I mean, she can go to downtown Seattle, which that's a 15-20 minute drive. They're north of Seattle, but I can't find them at an Airbnb to stay at. So where is all this money coming from? Where is all these people moving around? Are we putting them all on credit cards, or we're doing cash, or I don't.
Well, that's something that data supports, which is we're seeing a big uptick nationally in credit card debt,
all-time high for America,
and a lowered amount of savings. So,
it's the reason I tossed it out.
In situations like that, while not ideal, I've got a product that allows people to get in at zero money down, and if we can get some concessions from the seller, while that still exists for some properties, you could essentially walk in and buy a house as not a veteran, making up to $172,000 a year individually, depending on where in the state you are, and buy a house, get in a home.
So we're the nationwide credit card debt's going up.
American history high.
How is that impacting your loan process?
I mean, it depends on the borrower. Depends on what things look like. Not significantly different than any other time. We're putting together approvals. We're having a difficult time finding inventory to get people under contract with.
So back to the beginning conversation. People, look, I personally think too much credit card debt's not a good thing, right? Yona and I always try to stay on the low side of that. We pay it off every month on whatever credit cards we have, or otherwise we just don't use it. But the reality of it is the conversation you're having with folks, and the same thing with us, and maybe some of the other real estate agents can chime in. This whole conversation of the interest rate has kind of gone away, and it's like, where can I buy a home? So doesn't that sound a lot like it was a year ago? Right? That was a year ago. We were talking
Eerily similar.
And not that we necessarily called it. I actually went back and looked at some shows at the end of last year, middle of last year, where I was predicting inventory would grow, but it's staying flat. I'm looking week over weeks, and we're just we're not growing in inventory, at least in this region, and the pendings are creeping up higher than they were this time last year.
So where do you think we go? What happens?
I think we sit here, or I think we're going to be having this conversation almost every show for quite a while. We're going to, on Monday start bringing in more real estate agents so they could talk about live what their experiences are in the market. But I think we just need to start educating. And the conversation I'm going to have with Albemarle County is my constant one I have here about the buyer pool is the 20-foot deep of the Olympic-sized 10-meter tall diving thing. The inventory is the kiddie pool, and everybody's got to help out. And to Neil Williamson's, more. What is his hashtag?
More housing everywhere for
more
everyone.
housing everywhere for everyone. We've got to figure out how to turn that spigot on, so we can increase residential construction.
Is
frankly.
the political capital there for that, Keith Smith?
I'm going to find out today at Albemarle County at 1:00.
Why is the incentives they're trying to push through such lacking in incentives?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm going to find out. We'll report in on Friday on that when Jesse's sitting here at the table, Jesse Rutherford from Nelson County. We're going to talk a little bit Nelson County and budget processes and some of the next month or so with elected officials, local elected officials. But I don't have the answer to that. Again, I'm going to find out. Maybe there's some incentives that haven't leaked out yet. Don't know, but. What I've seen isn't much of an incentive, to be honest with you.
How are the builders responding, fellas? Bill McChesney, welcome to the program, the mayor of McIntyre.
To be frank, I don't think they even care and look at it. I think they realize it's not going to be substantial enough even to pay attention to. And that's a bit sarcastic and a bit pessimistic.
Also concerning.
I also think I hit the nail on the head.
How are your builders that you're working alongside? What's their pulse, their temperature, Scotty Moe?
I think the biggest, you
got a couple watching right now.
The smaller, mid-sized builders that I have put the most time in with, the biggest concern is finding affordable land in order to they're going to go through the process is going to be what the process is, county to county. I think to Keith's point there, they don't expect much of the government, but can they find divisible or already divided lots that they can put a house on market that is, in the range of what they're building that they can turn around and sell and get enough attention to that they're not pricing themselves out of what they're doing?
So the math is always density driven. That's the multiplier. That's what everybody needs to do, because if you're paying in Albemarle County, you're going to pay premium for land. That's just what's going to happen. Your development expenses are going to be very expensive. Your rezoning processes and all that's going to be expensive and long. So whatever the incentives are, they have to increase density. If they don't increase density, I've been talking about this pear-shaped market for quite a while in our area, right? It's going to be a little closer to Charlottesville and Albemarle County, and it's going to poke up at the top of the pear up to the other side of the mountain. It's the reason why I'm starting to include Augusta and Waynesboro in my weekly analysis on that end of it. And so what the developers are going to do, the big developers are going to do, because some of these folks I am having conversations with, they're trying to find something that's inside that pear, but just close enough to the edge of the shape of the bottom of the pear that are close enough to Albemarle, but maybe not in Albemarle, so that the land is a little bit cheaper, the development process is a little bit easier. Greene County would be an example of that, and that's where the money's going to go, unless these incentives and they figure out how to turn red tape into green tape and reduce the time. That's where they're going to go. It's just. There'll be a few projects in Albemarle County, but not enough to make a difference or make an impact.
Comments coming in right now. This one from Crozet, from a family that is currently renting. Kevin Coppinger, the game is rigged. Last year, rates were low. We could not buy. This year, rates are high, and we still cannot buy. Yeah. It's a very frustrating scenario. Both my wife and I have jobs. We make above the area median income. We'd like to stay in Crozet to keep our kids in the schools they're in. The game is rigged. Who wants to touch that one?
Take the time, send me a message. Let's get an application. Let's see if we can come up with a solution.
So there's options on the table. The game is rigged. I think I understand the frustration. I deal with this every day with folks. But to Scott's point, first you got to figure out what you can qualify for, and Scott's got some great programs that might be able to help you out a little bit on that. We're still doing 2-1 buy downs, right? Yeah, so 2-1 buy downs would be one, but you're 100% right. I'm looking at what's available in Albemarle County, active right now, and you know what? It's going to have an 8 in front of it.
Well, and Mr. Coppinger, I appreciate the comment and your transparency and authenticity with your comment. Offering a little perspective here, the Crozet market is about as expensive as it gets in Albemarle County. And it's because of those schools that you obviously know and cherish that your kids are in.
Well, back to location. So we've got because that works, on the buy side and the sell side, right? The 6 things. We've got the location. The price is what we've got to figure out, and Scott can help with that, right? What there's what you can afford and what you're comfortable with, right?
What are we talking? Old Trail starts with an 8.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
There's stuff out there that's not Old Trail, like
yeah,
Gray Rock.
Well,
yeah, Gray Rock's below that.
But the next
price point wise, I mean,
the next 2 is important, right? What features are they looking for? And are they willing to buy something that might need a little bit of help, right? So that's if we know the location and we know what we can afford or what we want to spend, then we're starting to look at features and conditions. And if we want to hit all 4 of them, you're not more than likely. I know you're competing against other folks. Back to my comment earlier, this is 100% right. Interest rates are higher than they were a year ago. Inventory is still tight. Inventory has not loosened up. It is not going to loosen up anytime soon. As we started the show earlier, even if it goes down to 5%,
it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse on that end of it.
I ask this question a lot to you guys, the experts. Is it more difficult now for the first-time home buyer like the Coppinger family to buy a house, or is it more difficult for the Coppinger family to have purchased a home a year, 18 months ago?
18 months ago.
You still say 18 months?
Yeah, I think it's easier now, and we're back to getting concessions. We're putting deals together. It was harder 18 months ago than it is right now.
Yeah, 18 months ago there was no rules. It was the Wild West. There was no normalcy. Now there is some normalcy back, but I am starting this, to Scott's mention, we're starting to see, waiving of home inspections again.
That's back?
We're starting to see waivings of septic inspections if it's out in the county on the end of it. So, and if back to my 6 things, if we hit the first 4, if it's in the right location, right price, right features, right condition, instead of bidding against 30 people, you're bidding against 3, 4, or 5, but you're still bidding against other people. There's still multiple offers.
And that goes back to it being the right property. Although I will say that, So I had an agent tell me a story the other day of something that happened this past weekend. Went out, saw, contacted the listing agent at 12. Kind of get an idea of what they might be interested in. Very interested buyers. Buyers saw the property at 1 p.m. At 2:45, contacted to make a cash offer, no contingencies, 2-week close, and he said, we already accepted an offer. He's like, well, was it at this number? No, it wasn't that high. I'm literally offering you a better offer than what you have in hand, and you're not going to present it to your clients. And
say that again slowly.
The seller had said they had verbally accepted something, and they wouldn't even entertain the.
Was it listed?
Yeah.
Really?
The better offer.
That's interesting.
Like no.
Is that a relationship?
We're going to talk about that one off air a little bit.
Relationship in place with the buyer and the seller?
I don't know. I'm not going to get deeper into
it. Yeah. That's we're going to talk about that off air. Something's not right about that.
I don't disagree
on that. And
are all price points? Well,
we don't want to flush this out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because I would imagine you're going to allude to fiduciary responsibility with representation and presenting all offers. That's an all-fair conversation. Are all price points, gentlemen?
It's a thing called clear cooperation.
Yeah, right. So. Are all price points, gentlemen, on fire right now?
I was talking about in the $700,000 range, and certainly if 300 or thereabouts is as tough as it's ever been.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff in eastern Albemarle County in the Keswick area, 900 to $1.3 million, $1.4 million, moving quickly.
Yeah, so I'm this conversation in November and December, if you can find something below 300,000, right? Those were sitting on the market a little bit longer, right? They were a little bit more difficult. I think the Band-Aid just getting ripped off, doubling in interest rates was hurting the first-time home buyer.
I think those properties were sitting because you had people who were previously qualified at 400X who are now being shown these $300,000 properties that are not what, there's deferred maintenance. It's just, this is not a new house. This is something built in the 1970s or early 80s that just doesn't check all the boxes.
And everybody did a timeout.
So they went on pause. But, if to that point, this is where things like, how creative can we be? Could we go do a limited 203K where we, could go in and make some improvements on the property and make it kind of what you want to make it, and you could live in there to do that. Do we have the people in place to execute something like that? That's where having a team of people who can get you what you want within reason becomes what this is all about.
So back to the first-time home buyer, I have a client who's a doctor moving, not my son-in-law and daughter, but another doctor who's moving into Richmond, making well above area median income, and we're not struggling, but we're just like every weekend we're out looking and we're looking and we're looking and we're making offers and we're in the game and we're doing this because he's moved this particular family, much like my Yvonne and Houston, who Scott's helping. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Is moving. They're moving for out west also, and we need to find them a home.
They're moving from out west to Richmond?
Yeah. No. Mine. This other doctor that
Gotcha.
I'm helping is moving out west to Charlottesville, and we're having the same struggle. Right. We're trying to find it. Back to the Crozet. There's a lot of great agents watching, but I happen to be next week out in Crozet in a bunch of meetings. I'd love to buy them a cup of coffee and see if I can help them out any way I can.
There you go. This comment's come in. How about the taxes, gentlemen, from the mayor of McIntyre? We had in the city of Charlottesville, and he's retired. He and his wife are retired. He said, we've had a 25% increase on our real estate taxes in the last 2 years in the city of Charlottesville. We are on a fixed income. He says this cannot be helping people afford to buy homes. And he says also, and he said in the past, heck, from a retired standpoint, this is making it difficult for us. 25% uptick in taxes on their house, and they're on a fixed income. That's a substantial uptick. You empathize. You empathize.
Yeah, I empathize, and I cannot say enough about the government wanting more of your money.
So let's talk about.
Scott and I share similar ideologies.
So let's talk about how we can help, right?
The problem is the tax relief program, and you've identified this.
That's actually where our chemistry is not working today. That's not where I was going to go.
Well, you mentioned this. Was it Monday? Like if you own the house and you have substantial equity in it, you're probably priced out of the tax relief programs.
You are. So the tax relief programs definitively need a lot of work.
A lot of work.
A lot of work, right? And, unless you're a 100% disabled vet, which is extremely difficult to get, as Scott and I know. But what I was going to talk about, it's funny that this came up. I was on the phone with 2 clients this morning on the way in that we helped sell houses 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like, what the heck's going on? So I've actually got meetings with them, and we're going to do, because there's time to appeal in Albemarle County. I don't know when the appeal deadline is for the city off the top of my head.
Another question I have for you, why is that window so narrow? Is that strategic?
I don't know.
With the hope that folks miss the appeal window?
Well, we're going to bring Woody Fincham back in, and he can probably help us out. But the window the window actually in Albemarle County is much wider than it was
city.
Well, in Flavanna was less than 30 days on that end of it. So we kind of go through this every year, this time of the year. I get phone calls. So these particular clients I'm going to meet, we're going to do a market, because they're required by law. They can't exceed market value. So if you provide them the data, hey, this is market value, and let's assume market value is $100,000 or whatever it is below what the tax is set, what they're telling you it is, then we'll give you the data for that. You submit it to the county or the city, and hopefully they'll adjust your tax. They did it with my house. They did it. There's a mutual friend of ours that lives at the Acres that used to work at Flavanna County High School. You know who I'm talking about. I got them. They were $150,000 over market value.
Okay. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
And we proved the numbers, and they adjusted their tax value, $150,000 over market value. So we got to look at it and find out. So reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to do an assessment and provide you with a CMA, and hopefully it's below what they're saying, and then you submit it, if that makes any sense.
Bill confirms that he is 100% out of the tax relief program. I would imagine,
Yeah.
Bill, that is because of the equity in your house, sir.
Yeah.
Has that come up? Multiple people are asking on the feed with conversations with buyers and sellers, taxes and pricing them out of certain inventory. No?
I don't see taxes. HOA fees, for some reason, will come into a conversation, because some, particularly on the condo side of the house.
Condo fees are always going to be significantly more. Now they supposedly cover more, but it also creates for a much lower home insurance premium as well.
Yeah, so Lake Monticello is like $90 a month, right? But when you look at some of these condos, they're $300, $400, $500. They could be substantial a month, and so those are generally the conversation. There's very little conversation about tax.
Bill says either Charlottesville or Albemarle County has a 30-day window for tax relief appeal.
They do.
And it only you can only do this appeal during working hours. So if you have a job, it makes it extremely difficult.
So I thought, I have to double check, because this was a conversation I had this morning, and Bill, if you don't mind fact checking me, I think Albemarle County, you actually can do it online. You can actually do the reassessment appeal. Tax relief may be a little different, but the reassessment, I believe you can submit online. That was the conversation I had this morning. I may be wrong, but...
Mr. Yancey says, we did what you're talking about in Fluvanna County. They denied it for us, and then the for sale sign went in the yard that afternoon, and his wife was in real estate at the time.
Yeah. We've been very fortunate. Everybody that we helped, over almost 24 people, in Flavanna County, and everybody we helped got reduced. We just provided the data.
And is that a pro bono service, folks?
Oh,
are
yeah,
asking?
yeah, for sure, absolutely. I help any way I can. Then if that doesn't work, I call my Uncle Vito from Staten Island. Then we get it fixed.
Man, Uncle Vito from Staten Island has a lot of influence in Fluvanna County. I need an Uncle Vito in my life, Keith Smith.
I think we should be calling Uncle Vito on the government all the time.
You do not want to ask for a favor from Uncle Vito. Trust me.
I can't imagine what the payback is for Uncle Vito.
And I do not have an Uncle Vito in Staten Island.
Multiple people are
I had a
giving you
grandfather who
props.
was in the construction business that drove a brand new Caddy every year, but that's a different story.
Diane Miller, Jerry Russell, Maggie Gunnels, all giving you props on the award.
Thank you. They're wonderful
That
people.
makes you feel good, does it not?
This is an industry award. I'm nominated blind, so this isn't one of these, you pay to play kind of thing. So, and I'd love to know who did the write-up, because I was not interviewed, and the only thing is maybe they watched the show and they peeled it from the show one time. But
Brian Smith for Scott. Has the refinance business picked up for you, Scott?
So the people that we're refinancing we're solving some cash flow problems for, whether it be credit card debt or vehicles, etc. What can we do to go in and save you $300, $400, $600 a month based on what your current liabilities look like, and can we make them does it make sense for you to do it?
I like it. Kevin offered, I mean, think about this hike here. He says, Yancey, 2007, $99,000 assessment in Fluvanna County. 2008, the assessment went to $213,000.
Yeah.
So it more than 2x'd.
Yeah. Was that '07 was the back year?
07, 08.
Yeah. Well,
That's ridiculous. That's intense.
and that was
And that was at the time of a recession.
that was the blow up.
That was right before.
It was right before.
And Fluvanna also had some interesting stuff happen. They had like a private company that had come out. They ended up redoing things 2 or 3 times. And Keith probably knows this better than
Well,
me.
it made it
He
worse.
does.
It made it worse than that. They didn't reassess, and may have it. Kevin probably knows this. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they reassessed in 10 years. There was a period there for years that they didn't reassess, and then all of a sudden they reassessed. And if Neil is watching, he'll be able to answer this question. There's a statutory requirement to reassess. I know the comprehensive plan has to be done every 5 years, so I might be mixing. It may be 5 years or 10 years, but there was an extended period of time where Fluvanna County did not reassess, and then it was and that may be the period he's talking about.
Questions, keep them coming fast and furious. Gentlemen, this question's come in. Do the assessments happen every year to market value?
So to my point, each jurisdiction does it a little bit differently, right? Some jurisdictions don't do it every year, some do it every couple of years, and there's a required amount of time that they must do it, and I can't remember. 10 years sticks in my little...
Pretty sure Albemarle County does it every other year. For Albemarle
Well,
County.
some jurisdictions split the county in half, right?
I think that's what Albemarle County does.
Yeah, so they'll
Yeah.
do one half one year, one half the other year. I will tell you, our rental in Albemarle County went up over 25%. But I ran the numbers, and it was pretty much
Pretty
right.
accurate.
It was pretty
That's
accurate.
pretty market value.
Yeah.
Multiple people are confirming, yes, you can do the documents online for the appeal,
Yeah,
but FaceTime is required.
got it.
FaceTime is required.
So you can
and-
submit it, but then you got to go there.
That's right.
Okay.
And the tough aspect of that is if you have a job.
Yeah. No, that funny thing,
J-O-B.
J-O-B.
The assessment company was in California, never set foot in the state, paid a pilot to fly a grid, and did assessment from Google Earth.
And who's this now?
That
That was what happened in the...
in Fluvanna.
In Fluvanna. Yeah.
That's bananas.
Well, Fluvanna never. So Albemarle County does it in-house. At least there's an.
Especially at the time with like worse data tracking than that was like this
It was a biplane, right?
Yeah. That's this company's version of their Zillow price at the time.
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
they do that. So the one that did Fluvanna County for last year was also out of Richmond. But look, and we discussed this with Woody
the
Fincher.
viewers and listeners are smart.
Oh, without doubt, yeah. Smarter than this host anyway. Woody said, the firms that can do these mass appraisals are pretty limited, right? That's what they do, these mass appraisals on that.
Woody Fincham, I'm Fincham and Associates, one of the proud partners of Real Talk. Please go to online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, and you'll
at you.
see the partner tab, the trusted advisors of the supply chain we call real estate. Questions, keep them coming in fast and furious, please.
Please support them, because without that, we wouldn't be here having fun.
Multiple comments on evictions, and if the expectation is evictions will pick up, and obviously the macro headline was Blackstone is getting pretty heavy in the eviction game. Granted, that's a macro headline, and Blackstone, let's cut to the chase, does not own rental properties in Central Virginia.
It does not.
Still, the macro headlines drive chatter on social. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think my suspicion is, and this is just total spitball, have nothing to verify any of this. I think they're trying to get folks out of the house so they can put them on the market and flip them, is what my suspicion is. I may be wrong on that, but
Why you say that?
I
Because they see the prices the houses are going for?
yeah, I don't know. I just think having mass single-family detached units as rental in a large footprint business model just can't be sustainable. It just doesn't make sense to me, but I may be
think
wrong.
it's probably a combination of things. One, you get into some of these places, and the reason that they need to evict is because if you go back through the pandemic, let's just look at the past 3 years, the people who were not paying were renters, and some of these municipalities are much kinder to that, to the tenant than the landlord, and they got themselves into a situation that they, in some of these municipalities, now I think this really is going to be location dependent. They got into situations as landlords in some cities that maybe they just shouldn't have been in, and now they're figuring, it's like anything else. They, there's some trials and tribulations to learning. Yeah.
iBuyers thing.
They got in and they realized, all right, we don't want to be here, and probably in some other areas they do want to be there. So I bet it's more nuanced than just we want to turn around and flip these properties.
So something that's hitting the news, not necessarily that, but more macro. These layoffs continue at the tech level, right? I don't know what kind of impacts that's having on it. If this is a lot to do with where they're buying these units, and maybe there's some layoffs and some turnover due to that. But
PayPal announced layoffs yesterday. Workday announced layoffs yesterday. You would be hard pressed not to find a technology company, especially those that are publicly traded, not laying people off, and
but
especially
locally,
those who utilize low rates to help invigorate the company.
But locally, it's quite the opposite, right?
Locally, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willow Tree is saying we're hiring.
So I think there's
For example,
CoStar's hiring. We
CoStar's
talked about
hiring.
the other
Dairy Central.
So there could be a pivot from west to east in that kind of way. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. But I'm not dialed too much into the eviction side of the house. We work with that quite regularly on the Planning District Commission, and that's something for Suzanne Reel with Ally to come in to talk about. And there's a couple of folks. Matter of fact, on his day job, Dave Norris would be able to help on the PHA, but we're trying to work him in to talk a little bit about his campaign.
Love
here.
Dave Norris, running for delegate. Dave Norris,
Yeah.
appreciate you reaching out, my friend. The redheaded LeBron James. You're a big, you're well liked on this program.
LeBron
as
James,
are you.
he kind of
Elton Brown.
reminds me more of okay, who was the Celtic star?
Bill Walton.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Larry. Oh, okay.
He's
Larry
more of a
Bird.
Larry Bird
Larry
kind of guy.
Okay. Marvin Moss of Fluvanna County is catching some heat in the comment section, literally as we speak.
Marvin Moss.
Yeah.
That's a name I haven't heard forever.
Can you offer a little perspective on who Marvin Moss is?
Oh, God.
He's catching a little heat right now.
I have not spoken or heard of Marvin Moss. Oh my God, 10 or 12 years. He used to be the chair of Fluvanna County. Is that the same Marvin Moss?
Former member of the Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors.
That's exactly, it's the same Marvin. Speaking of which, let's pivot a little bit. A little respect to the Cobb family. Cecil Cobb passed away yesterday. Cecil Cobb, I can't remember, it was either before Marvin or after Marvin, was the chair of Fluvanna County. Real upstanding, great guy. Knew him very well. So
Lifelong family friend, my dad's best friend, hunting partner, just
Class A guy.
Great builder, race cars. Guy's just a fantastic human being. So big condolences to his family, friends, everybody involved.
Yeah, it's an outstanding individual. So what is Marvin getting picked apart?
Maybe we shouldn't be reading.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's a name I haven't heard in forever. Marvin Moss.
I kind of kept it a little.
Got it.
Yeah, a little safe.
Safe. This is safe space.
A little safe for
Safe
the commentary.
space.
Not nice things.
Yeah. We don't point fingers.
It's tough when you're elected official, man.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at the local level.
Yeah, but
Half the people are going to hate you. The other half aren't even going to care about you.
Yeah, but he's been out of the game
For what?
decade. I mean,
Yeah.
oh God, got to be at least 10, 15 years.
This has come on the feed. This is from James. Jerry, please ask Scott Morris about Lake Monticello. I know he grew up in that area as well. You guys routinely talk about the lake, and on Monday's show, you talked about the meager levels of inventory. Scott, we had, what was Lee Elberson's number? It was 0.25% of Lake Monticello is currently active on the market.
What was
Can
it?
you believe a Marine can figure that all out?
Well, yeah. Well, we've been talking about this for 3 years. As soon as everything, went crazy, we were like 4 or 5 non-new construction units active, with 4 or 5 by Liberty Homes available, 4,000 units 10 active now would be my guess, if that's the numbers that we're talking.
While you're talking, I'm going to go find that number for you.
And
Not paper houses.
Yes,
well,
sir.
so you go, it's a very interesting place as far as how it's evolved. You've got the original homes that were ranchers that have slowly become rentals, investment properties that are scattered throughout the lake, and then you've got some of the newer, nicer areas that have, depending on where you are, that are single family. It's the largest condensed pocket of homes in Fluvanna County. It's got to be.
It's the largest neighborhood in Central Virginia.
There you go.
Yeah.
10 on 10. There you go. There's good guess, Scotty Mo.
10 of
4,000 homes.
4,300.
Yeah, and 10 homes on the market. So that, always kind of, but you've got to look at what's going to create turnover there. It's a bedroom community for Albemarle and somewhat Richmond. I'm sure there's some people who hit 15 to 64, depending on what they do or where they go. And the people, it's been your nice, affordable, gated community to be in the area.
So 10, the median days on market is 38. The average is 55. There's a couple of homes that are still on the market in triple digits, 110, 177. Pretty much the last three that came on the market are under 6 at the moment.
What are the triple-digit price points? Do you have that?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. 799, 629, 80. There's 84 days on market is 595. 68 days on market is 339. Those upper numbers are all the waterfronts.
Yeah, if you told me at any point in my life and right now, and congratulations to those people.
That they could get that?
Growing up in Fluvanna, yeah. One, I don't want to live in the lake or any gated community, but two, to pay $800,000 to live in Lake Monticello is like the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say that doing what I do for a living, but it's just not for, if location matters, that's not where I want to be.
What's the highest price point ever sold at Lake Monticello?
$799.
No, highest price point ever.
Oh,
Any million plus at Lake Monticello?
I'm sure there's a million somewhere in there. I'd have to go ahead and take another blush at it. But usually you don't go much over the 800 price range on that end of it. And the proof of that is, again, we don't want to, cherry pick or talk about specifics on a listing, but this one I happen to be looking at that's now 800 started at 865. On it. So, I just think, again, it's always it's these 6 things, right? And the first 4 matter, which is location, well, that's a great location. Price is probably too high. I'm looking at the pictures right now. The features or conditions are in really great shape. So that means they're just overpriced. And the price needs to get adjusted accordingly, and then it'll sell. But 177 days on market's pretty strong.
Comments coming in fast and furious right here. Vanessa Parkhill, every state and local government is going to take their pound of flesh to cover their services. I have a family member in Pennsylvania whose home values are 1/4 to 1/3 of the value of my home in Albemarle, and they pay at least 5 times what I do in real estate tax, but they don't pay personal property taxes. The more citizens ask the government to do for them, the more government is going to take from our pockets. I'll give her some props on that. I know Scott Morris is going to give her some props on that right there.
Well, budgets usually don't go backwards. Nelson County did, right?
Nelson County,
and I don't know about this year.
Budget neutral.
Well, we're going to find out on Friday if we're going to be able to hold a budget neutral for 2023. I guess that would be 2023, 2024. More interesting on the Fluvanna Lake Monticello thing, there are 14 homes in the pending mark. Right, so these are homes that went under contract. Median days on market was 34, average is 41. So we're going to start watching these average and median dates get a little bit closer on that end of it, and they're ranging from it hasn't closed yet, so you don't really know what the sale price is going to be. But on the list side of the price, they're ranging from 269. So there's only 2 homes that are currently pending under 300,000. Going all the way up to, hold on a second. No, I spoke incorrectly. Let me adjust the price.
Kevin Yancey says, Keith, there was a $1 million sale in Lake Monticello in 2008. It was waterfront,
Yeah.
and it ended up being an absolute teardown.
I think I remember that home.
So you're saying to me, someone
sorry.
bought a house at Lake Monticello for over $1 million,
Tore it down.
tore it down,
Built a new house.
and built a new house.
Yeah. You'll start seeing a lot of that at Lake Monticello.
Scott, you know what? Why don't I not ask Scott his thoughts on that one? I'm not going to ask Scott his thoughts on that one. I'll go to Keith Smith on that one.
Look, if that's what
I
somebody
know
wants to
Scott
do, they
fairly
got
well
the cash
over
to
here.
do it.
Hey, that's right. I just wouldn't think
Last time
that
I
would
checked,
be
we
the
lived in
place
the
to
United
do it.
States of America. Good luck.
Hey,
So-
maybe they wanted the waterfront
So
view
there's
where it's
only.
Central Virginia.
I got to correct myself because I had the wrong setting on it. There's only 4 homes that are currently pending under $300,000.
There
I
was a-
just,
go
I
ahead.
just wouldn't think that's the neighborhood. Sorry, I'm gonna go have lunch with Tommy D, Ovation Builders, the high-end renovation company in Charlottesville. They do amazing work. Who not too long ago did a $500,000 renovation to a home in Farmington. Went back the next year to do some work on the same little area, neighborhood road, and talked to the owner. Said, "Hey, don't recognize the house down there." He goes, "Yeah, right after you guys finished, they just decided they were going to tear the whole thing down, do a whole yeah." So people do this. I just wouldn't think.
Did you work on that house?
I would.
Okay, just checking.
I just wouldn't think that.
Because that would make sense.
I just
then.
wouldn't think that the lake is the. I just.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they wanted the water view. Hard to get a water view in Central Virginia. Where else would you go for a water view in Central Virginia?
if I had the cash, I'd live on the water.
Well, where would you have a water view in Central Virginia? Maybe you can in Milton Village in Keswick get a little water view of the Rivanna.
It's more than a water view, right? You
They
water
got the
ski,
dock.
you water ski, you fish.
Got the dock.
That's a pretty large
I mean,
lake.
Lake Anna.
Would we
Well, the
call
one
that?
that you glow at is that one. That
Lake
one?
Anna a little further drive,
Lake Anna is a little further drive. Yes, so
and those price points are higher.
they are.
Depends on the section.
Generally higher than the lake.
They are.
Yes, I personally would lean towards. I would find something river related as far as if I wanted to look at something nice.
Rivanna River?
That's what I would want to do.
you like the river.
Yeah.
Would my boat work in the river?
I don't
don't think so.
I don't want to see.
Does your boat work?
I don't want to come out and there be people.
Let's not get personal there.
Fishing.
That's very personal.
From a boat into my dock, and I
Okay.
I don't know.
So
Cully Baggett, the developer and builder, says Lake Anna is very up and coming, gentlemen.
So people are driving out that way. That's because it's making sense. So the 14 at Lake Monticello, interesting jump. So we go from 250 to 399.9 to 400, and the last 2 jump from 400 to 785. So we've got 2. Give them a fist bump over there. We got 2 sales that are pending in the 7, but there's this huge jump between 3. It's almost double, just to round numbers a little bit, 400 to 800 on that end of it. But 12 of them are between 400 and 250.
Cully, appreciate that comment. And the Potomac River is very different than the Rivanna River, for those who are talking about the Potomac River. I would say those are not comps.
Have you ever floated down the Rivanna River and not had to carry your...
Yeah, I mean, I grew up right where
I know.
I grew up in Columbia, where the Rivanna and the James come together. The Rivanna, is much more shallow than the James.
The James is a good thing to float down.
Yes.
What's the name of the firm in
James River Runners.
in
Scottsville?
Scottsville? Yeah, James River. There's 2 of them actually.
There's
There's
James,
2 floating.
there's James River Runners and the other one.
Well, we won't talk about the other one. We'll talk about the James River because that is Coach Rateau's family that owns that, right?
James River Reeling and Rafting.
Yeah.
And James River Runners.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I had to do a quick Google search over there. The mayor
Has anybody got to use the yellow card, by the way?
The mayor of McIntyre says over $400,000 home on Lions Court in Charlottesville City.
Yeah.
The folks purchased it, raised the home,
Yeah.
rebuilt it from scratch.
Yeah.
I would love to know what their assessment is. You buy a home in Charlottesville City on Lions Court for more than $400,000. You tear it completely down,
But that's what
and you
people-
build it.
You know, it's if
That's happening in Fifeville too.
Yeah, so
That's
if,
a definition of gentrification for that neighborhood.
absolutely. If we can't get more inventory, you're going to see more of this. The money, for lack of a better term, isn't going away. It's still coming.
Well, this is a perfect question to the next one from Laura. How much of your business is out-of-town buyers coming to Charlottesville or Central Virginia? Scott and Keith.
More.
More now?
More. Oh yeah. Well, I'm starting to see more now, and there's a lot more of people coming into the area. There's a lot of growth happening with the university, with NGIC and DIA, and I don't know if it's coincidence, but that's see a lot of that. I also have a group that I work with in the Chesapeake area, and seeing a lot of nurses from New York who are trying to come down into that area as well. So
I actually made a note earlier about travel nurses and that as a business model, and you're starting to see the Airbnb model go away a little bit in the travel nursing, because they usually have 3 to 6 month contracts on that end of it. And
a little easier to manage.
Well, no, it's a workaround on some of the HOA requirements. It depends on the HOA. You can that is now not considered short-term rental. You got to dig into the HOA documents on that end of it, but some of them, if you're over 3 months or 6 months, it's not quote unquote short-term on that end of it. Our business, as far as folks relocating here, has always kind of been a 60-40 split. I can tell you, when Scott was doing all that wonderful work for me and we were building all these wonderful houses together, I would tell you 100% of the business was folks relocating out. There's a buyer pool, and I've got tomorrow. I got a meeting with two custom builders. One of them, I
heard about that. Man.
On buyers that are relocate. They're UVA grads. They've retired. And they want to come back. That's a huge buyer pool. And there's property that they have sold, done very well. Cash is what we're working with. And, they're okay with spending money.
what's left on the corner for a UVA grad retired to come back? Is the Virginian still there?
Yeah, Andy McClure owns it.
Okay.
Our client.
All right.
In front of the program.
You're talking about when they were here in the 70s, that kind of thing?
Or, even if you go back to the...
I think you've got you got the Biltmore.
Yeah.
You got Buddhist, which is now kind of rebranded Crozet Pizza. That was there. That was there when I was in school in 2000. Coupe de Villes, although, well, I shouldn't say what I was about to say. Say Coupes, Buddhist, the Biltmore, the Virginia.
I knew this was a good topic.
Yeah, it's never top. Boylan Heights, when you were there, when we were there, was Orbit. Yeah, it was Orbit. Orbit may or may not have seen not the best version of Jerry. We'll leave it at that over there. St. Martin's is long gone.
We have
I've
pictures.
got away with more there.
Orbit was the Wild West. That's where I met your brother-in-law, James Watson.
Yeah.
And
Orbit was the Wild West.
And I just, James may or may not have pictures. I'm keeping them in my back pocket for the proper blackmail opportunity.
It was the Wild West, and we will leave it at that. Gentlemen, some closing thoughts. Scotty Moe, the show is yours.
I did want to say, take the time to bring up Cecil Cobb's passing. So anybody in Fluvanna connected to him or the family or his business or any of the things that he did, just an outstanding human being who's no longer with us. And then outside of that, for borrowers, buyers, agents, everything else, just keep doing what you're doing. We're what's continuing to be the trusted advisors that help people make the decisions that they need to make to move on with their lives.
Well said, Scott.
So on the Cecil,
I like it.
On the Cecil Cobb thing, I'm going to reach out to Moselle Booker after the show today and see if I can get some.
Pretty sure that was Lee Elberson who just drove by.
Was it really
Every
Lee?
time he goes by the studio, he honks the horn from his Jeep.
I was saying
was
something.
that you, Lee Elberson?
I was saying something profoundly. Thank you.
Go ahead, Keith. I apologize. Finish your
No, the beep and you and I just lost it. But as far as Cecil Cobb goes, Scott, I'll keep you looped in on that. And I'm just flattered and thankful and speechless about this second award. And thank you for everybody who gave me congratulations. I'm glad to be able to sit here and do this, and it just means the world to me to be recognized like that. So thank you.
Real Talk with Keith Smith online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Guys, Scott Morris, the owner of Ross Mortgage here. He is the branch manager in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Branch manager, Virginia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. You need a loan, Scotty Mo. Keith Smith, 38 years. We got 38?
87, whatever that math works out to.
Okay.
87, 88. Well, somebody does the math. You're the numbers guy. Do the math.
35, 36 years.
Yeah.
Over there.
Over 3 decades. Let's call it that.
We'll call it a fair amount of time.
Let's call it over 3 decades.
How about a fair amount of time?
Let's go 3 decades. You've got a show to do. We got to go.
I'm trying. Trusted advisor over here, Keith Smith. Judah Wickower keeps us on air. This show is about education, enlightenment, and entertainment. We hope you enjoyed as much as us. The I Love Siebel show is up in 45 minutes. Take care, everybody. Well done, gentlemen.
Looking forward to Friday. It's going to be fun with Jesse.
Oh, of course. Jesse's always. Good job, boys.
Nobody raised the yellow card.